Put on your microphones.
I can hear what you said.
Put on your microphone.
I will open the public hearing to Rick Adele.
I'll put the map out here if anybody wants to look at it. You all have copies of it?
I do, yes.
Anybody doesn't, I got it.
No, I do not have a copy.
You got it.
Yeah, please.
See your copy? I have that.
Don, you want to?
Do you want anything or?
The only thing we have here is my neighbor, Stephen, has a few questions that I've been talking to him about. One of the things we were talking about was the drainage. And I was assuring him that when we put the foundation in, that we're going to put drains around the foundation and also to get, he's worried about catch basins on the coming off the roof. So I was telling him that, of course, I was going to do it, but maybe we could draw it to show him that we, I mean, since you are designing it, Don, that we are going to put catch basins and that, we are going to put a drain, around, to catch the
Water from the roof?
the water from the roof, run, have the things go right into the drains.
Well, what happens out there right now?
They don't have anything, I don't think, right now.
The water's going on in there and stuff?
No, well, he's down below.
I can speak to my
Yeah, I'm
issues.
sorry.
Would you like to stand up and speak?
Sure.
Introduce yourself?
Yes. Good evening, I'm Steve London. I live at 90 Stony Clove Lane. I own the property, my wife and I. And we are across the street and downhill from the proposed development. And so I, just for the first time, had a chance to speak to Mr. Riccadella tonight, and I didn't know about this until I got the notice in the mail that there was a request for variance of non-conforming use. So I wrote about my concerns in a letter. Some of them have been satisfied in conversation. I'm sure that Mr. Riccadella's son, who is going to develop, is going to live there. But I think there are some other issues that are reasonable issues since we live downhill. And one of them is that the plans that you're looking at are rather sketchy for developing a non-conforming use. The placement of the driveway is not clear. The house will be, proposed house, I believe, is 55 by 33 feet. The existing house is 28 by 28. So there will be, and there's no other on the property, there's no driveway, tarmac or concrete or anything. So whatever currently goes into the ground, basically. There is no drainage off. But if you're going to put a larger structure with larger pitch roofs on, and driveway, it's not clear from from the plans, how the driveway is going to be developed and where it's going to be placed, if it's going to be a concrete driveway, how wide it is, such matters. And so, I mean, those are all concerns that we have since we are downhill from the developed property. There is also where the septic is placed, I'm told, it doesn't show on the plans, but I'm told that there is a septic there. But I'm not assured, I'm not convinced, I should say, that there won't need to be another septic put in at somewhere on the property, and that's not clear on the plans. Also, just from a visual perspective, the house sits on a rise going up the street. On the plans, it's going to stay the same orientation as the current house, so it will be pitched slightly, and the side will come towards the street. There's currently a stand of trees there, and the stand of trees does a very good job of providing a visual screen from the street for the current house. But and I provided a couple of photographs that demonstrate that. But if the house comes in the same orientation out towards the street, another 30 feet, sitting on top of the rise, which is a 10 to 15 foot rise, it will be much more visible and much more prominent. And the plans don't show screening that might be planted on the street side. So my purpose is, and I've explained this to Mr. Riccadell, my purpose is not to stop the development. I just want reasonable assurances before variances are approved that legitimate issues are going to be dealt with satisfactorily. So that's why I'm here, asking you to ask for more specificity, have some assurances that the septic system won't have to be placed in a different spot. There are wells downhill, so placement of septic is something that's important. There's a spring that runs deep underground that feeds a couple wells in the area, so I'm not sure exactly if the septic needed to be moved, what that impact would be. So these are all just questions, and I think they can most likely be adequately answered, but I would like them answered before a much larger structure is placed on a half acre in an R3 zone.
How many bedrooms are in this house?
This is 4 bedrooms.
4, and the existing structure, how many are in there?
I said it was 4. He's not sure, but there's 4 bedrooms in there right now.
So the initial septic, you want to address that septic issue?
Well, they can get it approved by the health department, the existing one. We probably should take a look and see where the property is that the gentleman's talking about. What tax map is, probably should know. You find where your property is? It's on that one, no?
Yes, this is my property here.
Just 214 and then Stony Clove Lane.
Yeah, this is Stony Clove Lane, and so this is straddles my property and my neighbor's property right here.
Are you on the same side of the street or across the street?
Across the street.
Yeah, any runoff mediated by the highway is the cul-de-sac, Stony Clove, and that should catch any water and divert it away. It's not going to go under the hard pack of the highway. The water's not going to reach you anyway.
So the water carry down the hill?
Sure, because if it came down the driveway, it's gonna be circumvented by stony flows. There's a culvert on both sides of the highway, and the water will run down the highway. It's not gonna come across the
You're
highway.
using the word culvert with some liberty, and it's a ditch,
Well, that's a
Which-
culvert ditch. Yeah, it's a
which
ditch on
is-
both sides.
right?
So that's
Some
why
of
the
it
ditch is
is,
there.
right, they need a little work
Shandaken
to handle additional runoff, which shouldn't be a big deal, but
Was the design of the driveway meant to be changed for what we see here?
No. Everything on the map, which I kind of disagree that it's sketchy. Because everything is located exactly the way it is on the ground. The existing driveway,
Except the placement of the septic.
it's underground, so I can't tell you exactly where the septic is. But they've never had a problem with it, but we certainly have. The health department probably need to look at it.
you know, if the house is put in this orientation, the garages are over here on the plans, is that correct?
The garages,
Yeah, there's a two-car garage. That's part of the plans.
none of this plan is, would that be the shed?
You know, it's,
That's the old, that's the existing shed.
That's existing, yeah, this.
But the garage is placed in that.
Within the structure.
I think it's part of the application, I believe, the house plans were in it.
Yeah, it's part of that.
Yeah, you all have that in your, should have that in your application.
So this is the first one. Right, and the garage is here. Right. Right.
Okay,
So if this is the orientation of the house,
that's the actual design of the house.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna look like.
Right.
Oh, that's great to me. Okay, so,
so this would have to be the driveway that's used.
okay. Currently it's a circular driveway?
Yeah.
Well, more concept than anything else. There's no pavement there. It's all just, it's all overgrown. Thank you, in the pictures I provided, the current pictures you can see, it's overgrown. So, there's a stand of trees here that I think we'd very much like to see maintained.
And so would we. Because we don't want, we want the most privacy as we can, so we're not gonna.
And also, on this side of the house, since it will extend further this way, we would like to see screened also street side here.
does the screening even fall under the purview of the zoning laws?
What's that?
Does the screening even fall under the purview of the zoning laws? Are there zoning laws that address
Not
that?
necessarily, there's no provision that says it has to be screened or hidden from view or
Okay.
anything else.
So we can't force Mr. Ricciarelli to maintain.
I mean, the screening is at the discretion of the landowner.
We can just ask for his good faith, right?
I mean, there isn't anything in the zoning that would require him to screen across the front of his property to protect your view from the other side of the road.
I see.
But we apparently have Mr. Ricciarelli's word on good faith that you're gonna maintain the screening, right?
Of course, we want as much privacy as possible for the house.
I mean, plus at this point, you're now looking at a wreck of a shell over there. I would think that would be a whole lot more appealing than
Right, exactly.
what saying now, what you're dealing with now.
Yeah. And this is a total tear down?
Yeah.
That we see here?
You know, it's, you know, everything's in the eye of the beholder, right? I'm not, you know, if you ask my opinion, it's very much out of character with the bungalow houses on the road. But I'm not making that issue, right? But the screening, I think is, especially, you're right, that this, I assume you're right, that, you know, you can't stipulate that, but this is a development on a non-conforming property. And
Just non-conforming in what way?
it's a half acre, they need variances.
Well, it's pre-existing,
It's a lot of
so
record.
it's a lot of record, yes, so it's not non-conforming now. It would be if somebody wanted to subdivide and put a half acre lot here, so it's not that 100 built.
So it's, but they need variances to put this up.
Just for the setbacks, just for a couple of setbacks, the distances to the property line.
Right.
That's what it
Well,
is.
in any case, you know, it's the only place where we can raise our concerns.
And had this property been on the same side of the road as your adjacent neighbor, then you would have a concern. But being it's across the highway, really, that's really not an issue.
You may know that Stony Clove Lane is fronting into the highway. Is again, you know, it's a small road, and when it rains, water comes off the mountain. It goes over the road in several places. So, right. So that's why we're.
But we are gonna, you know, we put the foundation, we're gonna put a drain in on the foundation, for the foundation.
Putting drain.
Plus for the, you know, for the gutters. We do that anyway. We do that automatically. If you
Yeah.
have the thing dug up, why would you not?
It's crazy now. I agree.
So I mean,
Mr. Leonard, is your concern the increase of impervious surface on the property?
Yes. That's why also, you know, I would prefer not to have a blacktop driveway. It wouldn't be sheet drain off.
Blacktop
no,
road?
just gonna put shale on item 4.
So it's not impervious surface, that's what my driveway is. Most of them are here. All right. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, other than what you're, just so I understand, so you're approving, your plans as they're drawn here tonight.
We're being asked to, we don't necessarily have to approve the plan, but then someone has to make a motion and there'll be a discussion on it.
Right, but if you were to approve, it's this orientation, and that's the way it would be.
I believe so, yeah, unless someone makes a motion to approve it with the stipulation that it's moved 12 degrees one way or the other, you know, I can't anticipate that.
Okay. So you've heard my concerns.
Okay.
Well, so at least some of them have been addressed.
What?
Do you agree that at least some of them have been addressed?
Oh, yes, and as I said at the outset, this is the first opportunity I've had to speak to Mr. Ricabella, and we learned about this when I got the notice. And no one had showed me the plans, I came to look at them.
To do their job. Thank you.
Okay, make a motion to approve the application as presented.
Yeah, and make the secret determination too. And make the secret determination. Secret determination. Secret. It's SEOQ. Secret. We go ahead. We'll just do. Maybe just add the secret. It would be an application not requiring any additional environmental review. Type 2 action.
So you're asking me to make an additional motion?
No, just add it together. Just add the two motions together.
And the second motion is to require a sequel.
No. Just add them together. Do you want me to make the motion, or do you want me to do it?
All right. We only need
What's that?
type 2.
Yeah. So the motion is to accept the application as submitted and make a determination that this is a type 2 action under the secret.
Type 2 doesn't need
Okay, good.
type
I second that.
You have that discussion. Do you go?
I think so, yeah.
Let me read it back so we make sure you got it.
No, go ahead.
Do a roll call.
Okay. Keith? Oh,
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Okay.
Type 1.
What's that?
You said it's and a type 2 action?
Secret type 2 action. It's just, it requires no additional environmental review.
So we close the public hearing and we'll start with the. We had a roll call. Let's see, order of business.
Good evening. If I may, before I present any information on my client's application, I wouldn't be representing my client's interests if I didn't just, and I do this not to be antagonistic, but simply to preserve my client's legal rights. I have to mention that the manner in which the last meeting of this board, when my client's application was being considered, the manner in which it ended, and the manner in which the building inspector came up to further discuss the application, and then what appeared to be an outside of the hallway discussion took place, in my view, raises serious concerns under the New York Open Meetings Law, and I raise that simply to put that on the record so that my client's legal rights are preserved. In my view, any deliberation concerning this application and almost any application before this board has to be part of a public meeting, not an executive session, not a discussion in the hallway. It has to be part of a public meeting as is recorded here. So I appreciate the opportunity to just put that on the record. With respect to the application, I have an email to share with the board from Dave Corrigan to Don Brewer regarding email dated today regarding some additional changes that have been requested, some final changes that have been requested by the New York DOT to the version of the plans that were submitted to this board, which had already been revised to incorporate a host of changes requested by Mr. Corrigan previously. I believe Mr. Brewer has new plans that have taken this into consideration. And so the last issues that the DOT has raised and said needed to be addressed prior to approval have been included in the plans, and those plans are going to be submitted, I believe, tomorrow to the DOT. But in advance of that, two copies, just given the size of the plans and the amount of space on the desk. I'll defer defer to Don to answer any questions about the issues that were raised in that email from Dave Corrigan, because those were raised today, they were addressed today, and just given the recent nature of that, I think he's probably in a better position to point out what changes have been made to the plans. But if you have any questions, if you don't mind.
Mr. Corrigan met with me out there earlier today, and specifically to make sure that he had understanding of the drainage. So what he had mentioned was he would like to make that drive through between the two driveways.
Here.
Here.
Oh, here? Yeah.
16 feet wide, and then this is going to be a swale instead of there's presently a buried pipe there. The reason for that is the buried culvert pipe is not deep enough for the thickness of the pavement that's going to have to go in there. So he'd rather see a swale there between the two driveways and the culverts, 15-inch culverts under each, the entry and the exit. And then he felt as though there'll be little openings in the curving so that the water can flow through, and then out to the north to where there's the ditch and there's a culvert pipe, or